to another video on the Football Zone and to another weekend preview, another big weekend of Premier League and Championship action. So let's get straight into it. Starting off in the Premier League and with the Saturday lunchtime game, Liverpool against Burnley. These two teams had contrasting starts to the new season. Liverpool really comfortable and looked solid in their win over Norwich. Burnley, however, struggled against Brighton at home. That's a really disappointing result for them. And for that reason, especially as at Anfield, I can only see one winner. The crowds are back. I'm going to say 2-0 to Liverpool. Moving on, next up it's Aston Villa versus Newcastle. I think it's fair to say both of these teams didn't get off to the best start last weekend. Both teams are losing. West Ham only just beating Newcastle in the end. But Villa, they were comfortably dispatched by newly promoted Watford, which is a huge concern. But I think I back them to bounce back here. Obviously, it's going to take some time for new signings to bed in. But I'm just really not too sure about Newcastle. Joe Willett could be a game changer, however, but I'd still back Villa here. I think it'll be close, but I'm going to go a 1-0 home W. Next up, Crystal Palace take on Brentford. Palace, obviously they didn't have the best start last time out, getting hammered by Chelsea 3-0, but realistically you wouldn't have expected any other result, would you? But Brentford, obviously they had the dream start, beating Arsenal 2-0, and they'll come onto this on a high. This will be interesting though. Palace, obviously they are missing some key players, but home advantage, I'm not sure Brentford will be quite as strong away as home this year, but I do think they'll get a point out of this. I'll say 1-1. Next up, Leeds take on Everton at Ellen Road. And this is a big game for Leeds. They really need to get something out of this, really, after that hammering by Man United last time out. If not, maybe there will be a few panic bells going off. But then Everton got their win against Southampton last time out. They were trading for a bit of the game, though. I think this will be quite a tight, close game. I'm not sure which way it go. I think it'll be close, so I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. Manchester City take on Norwich at the Etihad Stadium, and both these teams, who will have totally different goals this season, got off to a really bad start to the season. Tottenham, of course, beating Man City, and Norwich being beaten at home to Liverpool. At the Etihad, though, I think Man City will be desperate just to get the ball rolling, and I do feel like it could end up being quite a heavy scoreline. Really, Pep Guardiola won't be happy with what he saw last week. And Daniel Farke's team, they did look a bit off defensively, so I'm going to say a 4-0 City win. Next up, Brighton take on Watford in the late game. This is an interesting one. Both teams obviously really solid starts the season last time out. But Brighton winning away at Burnley and Watford winning at home to Aston Villa. So both teams will be very happy with that. And both teams will come into this high on confidence. I think it's quite a close one to call. Watford still obviously have the momentum of being back in the Premier League. But Brighton back in the front of their home crowd. We've seen what that can do. And I think that will just give them the edge. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on now to Southampton versus Manchester United at St Mary's, and this is on Sunday. This is an interesting one. Southampton, obviously, they did have a fairly decent spell in that game against Everton, but in the end it didn't result in anything, and Man United looked a proper deal last time out against Leeds. It will be interesting to see if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's men can continue that, and against what I consider to be not great Southampton side, I think they will do, and they will do fairly comfortably. I'm going to say a 2-0 United win. Next up, Wolves take on Tottenham at Molineux. And Wolves, they come into this off the back of a 1-0 loss at Leicester. It was narrow, so it wasn't a disaster for Bruno Lage's men. But obviously Tottenham on the high after that 1-0 win against Man City, so they'll be looking to build momentum here. It'll be interesting. Nuno Espirito Santo, of course, going back to his old club after just 2 games with Tottenham, and I think it'll be a winning return. I'm going to say a 2-0 Spurs win. Arsenal take on Chelsea at the Emirates, and the pressure's already growing on Mikel Arteta after a disastrous opening day of the season against Brentford. As for Chelsea, obviously a great win on the first day. They're looking really strong, and they've got the addition of Romelu Lukaku now, which will only make them stronger. So it is looking quite tough for Arsenal to get anything out of this, and I don't think they will at all. I think Chelsea will have far too much for them, and it will end up being a relatively comfortable 2-0 win. And then moving on to the Monday night game, the first Monday night game of the season, West Ham host Leicester at London Stadium. And both these sides getting off to a winning start last season, kind of picking up from where they left off. West Ham 4-2 winners against Newcastle, made it difficult but got the win in the end, and Leicester just narrowly winning over Wolves. So both sides will be coming into this in full of confidence, and to be honest, when I look at the two squads, I think it's probably quite even. Maybe Leicester have the slightly better squad, but West Ham have the home advantage, and those two kind of seem to cancel each other out, so I'm going to say 1-1. Then moving on to the Championship, and the Friday night game is Bristol City versus Swansea. Bristol City, of course, getting a really solid 3-2 win against Reading in the week. However, Swansea with a home defeat to Stoke. So yeah, contrasting fortunes for these two sides. Bristol City in 11th, Swansea in 20th. I know you can't really read anything into the table, but yeah, it does look like Bristol City have had the best start to the season. But if I look at the two sides, I just don't think there's a lot to separate the two sides, if I'm being totally honest. So therefore, I can see it being a draw. Quite an insane one. I'm going to say 1-1. QPR host Barnsley in the early game on the Championship on Saturday, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Two very solid sides. QPR 3-2 winners away at Middlesbrough. That's a great result for them. Middlesbrough is not an easy place to go at all. Barnsley, though, they'll be disappointed. The 1-0 home defeat to Luton, definitely a winnable game for them, so they'll definitely be disappointed. But they'll be looking to make amends here. However, I just think QPR has such a strong squad at the moment and just seems to be on a total roll. I can only see it going one way, and that's a home win. I'll say 1-0. And then moving on, Blackburn host West Brom. Two sides who had a decent start to the season, both on 7 points. However, West Brom with a significantly better goal difference, and we saw what West Brom can do in the week when they absolutely outplayed Sheffield United, another relegated side. However, Blackburn also picked up a very good result away at Forest. Tough place to go, even if Forest haven't had the best start to the season. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But I do think West Brom do have enough here. I'm going to say 2-0. Bournemouth host Blackpool at the Vitality Stadium. And yeah, looking at the two squads and the recent form, Bournemouth winning the last two, Blackpool losing the last two, I think all signs point to this being quite a comfortable afternoon for Bournemouth. However, you just never know in the Championship. But to be honest, I do think even Blackpool fans will probably admit this, that you have to be very brave to vote for Blackpool, to bet for Blackpool to win in this situation. So I'm going to say 3-0 to Bournemouth. And then moving on, we've got Cardiff versus Millwall at the Cardiff City Stadium. And Cardiff, they've had a relatively decent start to the season. 5 points, unbeaten in the league and the cup. So I think they'll be very happy with that. Against the Millwall side, who are in 19th. They've had a slow start to the season. Obviously picking up a good fight against Fulham last time out. But yeah, just couldn't get the result in the end, which is a shame. But I do think Cardiff will have a bit too much for them here. I'm going to say 1-0. Back at the Ricoh Arena, Coventry host Reading. And yeah, this is an interesting one. Coventry, I think they'll be happy with their start to the season. 1-0 win away at Blackpool last time out is a really good result. Reading, however, very up and down. Lost 3-1-1. Losing last time out against Bristol City. You just don't know what Reading's going to turn up. Will it be the Reading for some parts of last season, or will it be a really bad Reading? I just think with the issues they have with squad depth at the moment, it will be tough for them to get a result, but I think they might sneak a draw. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on now to Derby versus Middlesbrough at Pride Park. Derby, considering the situation they're in, up in 12th place, 4 points. I think they'll be very happy with their start, to be honest. But Middlesbrough, losing last night out against QPR, it will obviously be a very tough opponent. Neil Warnock is manager. Especially with all the issues they have with squad depth when you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, it will be tough for them. And I do fancy Borough to sneak the win here. I don't think it'll be easy. I'll say 2-1. Fulham take on Hull at Craven Cottage. Obviously, Fulham, they've had a massive Hull have had a massive shunt down to earth ever since the 4-1 opening day win against Preston, losing the last 3-2 in the League, 1 in the Cup. As for Fulham, though, they just go marching on, and in the last few games they've looked unstoppable, well, except for the last 2 minutes against Millwall. But yeah, I still think I fancy them here, especially as they're at home. I'm going to say a 3-0 Fulham win. Then moving on, Luton taking on Birmingham at Kenilworth Road. Luton obviously getting a really solid 1-0 win away at Barnsley. Tough place to go, especially recently in the last year. Birmingham lost to Bournemouth last time out, and with all the issues from the stadium, I think they're actually quite glad to be playing away from home here. But Luton, with the results they've been getting recently, sitting just outside the playoffs, I think they'll be happy to be back in front of their home crowd as well, and I think they'll get the W here. I'm going to say 1-0. Preston host Peterborough at Deepdale, and this is an interesting game. Peterborough, obviously they've had an up and down start to the season. They've got 4 points, which I think they'll be pleased with, but Preston only on 0 points. They've lost all of their games so far. It's not been an encouraging start, to say the least. Lost to Huddersfield, who, as we know, aren't that great. They'll be desperate for a result, and I do think they will just about sneak one. I'm going to say 1-0. Sheffield United host Huddersfield at Bramall Lane, and after Huddersfield win last time out against Preston, I think it really eases some of the pressure on this game. But as for Sheffield United, after that hammering they took in midweek, I think this is a must-win game for them. They do need to get a result out of this. And looking at the two squads, I think they will. Maybe it's taken a few games for it to click under Slaviša Jokanovic, but it's starting to now, and I do think they will get the win here. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Stoke v Nottingham Forest. Stoke, they've had a really good start to the season. 1-3, drew 1 in all competitions, 7 points, sitting in 4th place against the Forest side, who haven't got a point yet. And the pressure is starting to go on Chris Hughton. I think all the money would be pointing on Stoke to secure a comfortable home win at the Bet365 Stadium, and I think that's probably the way it will go. I'm going to say a 1-0 Stoke victory. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, leave your thoughts, comments down below. Follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily football news, and subscribe to my channel on the screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.